At this stage, having lived in America for 5 years, I don't even know myself anymore how to pronounce
the correct pronunciation?
In England we say Puddicombe.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm really easy.
Okay. Yeah, you're really chill.
Okay. Of the day, like how can you be more present, less distracted, more calm, like throughout the rest of the day? And that's mindfulness, just being present. But it's really hard to do that. So we need a skill to learn how to be more mindful, and that's meditation. So we take a couple of minutes out, we calm down, we feel more relaxed, and we then carry that quality of mind into the rest of our day.
It can be really confusing sometimes as well, I think, when you first download Headspace or when you first get into meditation or breathing techniques, because it's so hard to turn your mind off. And a lot of young kids, when they're on social media or on the internet, especially before bed.
I get it. A lot of old people too.
Yeah, everyone's dealing with stress and anxiety, you guys.
Yeah, I think the number one thing actually with learning any of these exercises is that just because you sit down to do an exercise called Headspace or meditation, whatever you want to call it, doesn't mean that your mind is going to stop thinking. The mind will still think. So don't think that you're doing something wrong. Equally, don't be discouraged thinking that you're not kind of doing it well enough or you're not learning it fast enough. That is the process to begin with. Get distracted all the time. And then slowly you get a little bit less distracted, a little bit less, until eventually one day you sit down and you're like, oh wow, my mind's so calm. That's really nice. I'm going to do that again tomorrow.
That's what I found when I first started using it, is it took a solid period of time to really learn how to quote unquote turn my mind off and kind of make it really calm. But it's a learning process.
It is, and I always think of it a little bit like sort of exercise. You know, if we're learning a new sport, a new skill, or if we're sort of out running or something like that, we don't immediately start off where we want to kind of get to, right? We start off like little and often, and we slowly kind of build it up, and we get fitter or we get better at the sport, and over time we get to a point where, oh, actually, we're not too bad at that. And the same thing with meditation.
A lot of people also might look up to you as now this very successly creator of this awesome app. But did you ever deal with anxiety, or were you ever bullied even when you were younger?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and I actually think it's having gone through those things that enables me to teach now. You know, I think it's, if you haven't gone through those things, I think it's really difficult actually to recognize where a person's coming from in that situation. And I definitely experienced quite strong bouts of anxiety in my teens. I only found out later on kind of that it was what a panic attack was. Kind of at the time I wouldn't have even kind of known. I don't think it was even talked about in that way.
What is a panic attack too?
When you just feel so anxious, so overwhelmed that you almost can't breathe, you know, and it's quite, it feels, I think most people feel quite sort of panicked in that situation.
I used to have panic attacks every time I would take a test at school.
So you know, right? And it's really overwhelming, and it's not often understood by people around you. So I think going through that and having periods of depression and everything else, kind of like that is really, although at the time it's incredibly painful, I really believe that it's those things in life that help us better understand our mind, our relationships. It encourages us to dig deeper, to find meaning and purpose in our life, and ultimately to go on and do brilliant things that we want to do.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah,
you know,
it's good too. Yeah.
It's good too.
Yeah. All right, how are you fearless this week?
So I feel like my children challenge me to be fearless kind of every day, not just this week. So I have a little 4-year-old who. So my children challenge me to be fearless every single day of the week. I have an 18-month-old who's just learning how to stay upright. He keeps falling over. Who's learning how to sleep. He keeps waking up. And I have a 4-year-old who I love dearly, but he's a little whirlwind and he has more energy. He goes to bed later than me. He wakes up earlier than me. And those kind of things in life, they're small things, but they keep us really kind of grounded as parents. And we have to be fearless because they're constantly jumping off really tall things, endangering their lives and jumping around, and we're constantly experiencing anxiety as parents. But thankfully, things like meditation and mindfulness.
What else?
That's a lot.
I'm really chill. Okay. All right, ready? Oh, vertical. This way. Okay.
guys, Alexa here on Fearless Every Day, and tonight I'm so excited. I have Andy, who's the founder of my favorite app, Headspace, on Fearless Every Day. So listen tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yay!